Well, hello YouTubers, this was scrapped as well. This is a Kona Hoss from again around sort of 2005 era. This is a sort of semi-jump bike type thing, hence the jump forks that are on it, although I'll get back to those in a minute. It's would have been a fairly nice bike in its day. Truative 3x crankset, which was pretty common back then. The front derailleur I don't believe is original, it's a Derailleur, a slightly more modern one. Dual 9-speed at the back. The brakes are these awful Hayes Sol or Solo. I believe they're the ones. Yep, they are the single piston hydraulic disc brakes. So there's your backstop, and there's the piston on that side. Single piston hydraulic disc brakes. Yeah, these things were absolutely terrible. They really were. And these are actually like IS specific, so you can't like change the rotor size on here. These are actually fixed, so you can't use an adapter. Yeah, well actually I think you could, but it had to be from each manufacturer had their own one. It's a real pain in the backside. So yeah, these are pretty horrendous. They don't work, they're totally dead. Handlebars are Truative, pretty narrow by modern standards, but they're good, you know, they're solid. Headset, there's no branding on there that I can see. I don't know if it is the original or not. Now, suspension forks. These are Mazzocchi's in quote marks because these are the Dirt Jam comp. Now, Mazzocchi did some brilliant forks, some excellent forks. So the Super Monster, the Z1 Bomber, the Z1 Freeride, the Dirt Jumper 3, the Dirt Jumper 1, the Dirt Jumper 2, the Mazzocchi Shiva, the Mazzocchi RAC. This was not one of their good forks. This was one of their worst. In fact, this is probably one of those forks that basically made them go out of business eventually, made them lose their reputation, and made people stop buying Mazzocchi when RockShox came out with motion control. Mazzocchi was a fantastic brand of suspension right until this point. This, if on top, looks very similar to an SR Suntour thing. There's a reason for that. Suntour took over all manufacturing of low-end Mazzocchi forks at a certain point. No one really knows when that was exactly. But when the company was finally bought out by Techno, they moved all production to China in SR Suntour's factory. These forks here, they're Dirt Jam, and they even say, there's even a warning sticker on here, use only for cross-country, all-mountain, free ride and dirt jump. So it actually states that this fork can handle that when it's rocking the same internals as an SR Suntour XCM. Yeah, that's not a good recipe for lawsuits, is it? So, right, what do these sound like then? There's basically a grease lubricated, there's a spring, and not a whole lot else. There's no oil. No oil in a Mazzocchi fork. So what did this sound like? Whereas a regular Mazzocchi fork would keep going for years, these would need constant maintenance. The performance you got was not exactly controlled. So yeah, this was certainly one of their forks that killed that company. Mazzocchi were one of the first to make suspension forks work, and then they fucked it up in the end with garbage like this. The Z1 was a massive, in 1997 when the Z1 came out, it was absolutely revolutionary. It revolutionised mountain biking. People before that wanted a fork that was as light as a rigid fork but had some suspension. Mazzocchi came along and said, no, that's wrong. It needs to be a little bit heavier so it doesn't flex as much and have more travel than 50mm. And the Z1 was the first fork to do that, and it was literally, if you came across a bike that had a Z1 on it and you was rocking something else on a downhill trail, you would lose. There is no two ways about it. That's just how it was. Mazzocchi won loads of races with that thing, and they were once the best suspension fork manufacturer. But I digress. This is not one of those, unfortunately. But the frame is pretty good. 7005 aluminium Kona clump frame, disc mounts, etc, etc. Got this for a pretty good deal. That concludes the video on this retro Kona Hoss mountain bike. If you had one of these as a kid, please let me know. That concludes this video. See you later.